Being Asal County and specifically pastoralist, climate change is the main issue. Pastoralist communities depend entirely, that's 80% of them depend on livestock as the main source of livelihood. And currently, as you see, even we are in emergency.
In 2021, the short rains failed and the president declared a drought a national disaster.
We've not received rain or adequate rain for the last 4 rainy seasons. And people are in dire stress. Livestock are migrating from one area to another, bringing conflicts with it, and food insecurity, a lot of problems due to climate change.
We have a lot of boreholes drying up. We have water pans that are completely dried up. That now means animals and human beings are actually scrambling for water in particular selected boreholes.
It has affected to the extent of now the community cannot have even that withstanding ability to even put food to their table. So their dignity, their source of livelihood is at stake. So if we look back and say, what's the future of pastoralists in this phase of climate change? If land productivity is not at a level that the livestock can depend on, that trickles down to the food security at the household level. And that's the main issue that we face as a county.
The whole of this week, what we have been doing is that the county government line departments, the directors, are here from various line departments like agriculture, livestock, fisheries, health, water. And what we are doing is to together brainstorm on draft climate change finance framework, which has been developed by a consultant.
As a county, how we are trying to address these climate change issues is to ensure all our activities are geared to build the resilience of that specific local community. And that's why today we are here to come up with the climate change finance framework. And we don't just come up with this framework, it's geared towards financing locally led climate change action, because this community understand what's happening at their level. And if they can articulate what's happening and we support locally led action, then we'll have a solution to that. So we have a climate change policy that we have put in place. This policy proposed to come up with a climate change act, which created this fund, a climate change fund, which is 2% from yearly development budget. And all this is geared towards financing locally led action.
Historically, we were doing what's called crisis response in every drought. You do local rains assessment or short rains assessment, and after here you prioritize and planning, and you do your needs assessment, and then from there you allocate resources, so you do what's called resource mobilization, and lastly you do aid delivery. We want now to move from crisis response to managing climate-driven risks.
The more the drought becomes worse, the more we are.
Here we are talking about the vegetation condition index. We are talking about the pasture. Here we are talking about the water accessibility. We are talking about livestock water access. We are talking about livestock mortality and death, livestock migration. We are talking about human diseases. We are talking about conflict itself. We were able to come up with different interventions based actually on how much the climate change has affected us. Every single sector has been impacted by climate change to a very great advance. Out of all those impacts, we develop the activities which we believe, if we implement, they are likely going to reduce those impacts in that particular sector. And so, ours now is just to ensure that those activities are captured in the implementation framework to be a guiding tool to every single sector.
The mechanism we are advocating for is what is called County Climate change fund mechanism. And the county climate change fund mechanism is such that there are structures at the county level, structures at the ward level. There is a fund manager, the climate change fund manager at the county level, and the fund the county allocates every financial year 2% of its development fund.
This is a collective responsibility. Government alone cannot handle the issue of climate change. It's everybody's responsibility, even to that local community, local person at the ward or at the village level has a responsibility. And how they articulate their thing, the ward administrator, which is the government representative at the ward level, is the secretary to this. We have environmental officers, we have DRR officers who are helping this committee. Once the funds are available, the committee, we have already trained them on even how to come with a simple proposal. So we have trained them to come up with those climate change resilience plan. And when they want to access this money, they have to identify what's the main issue. If it's water, what's the issue? Is it accessibility? Is it availability? Is this the issue of affordability? And then putting them, justification that they need this specific project. And we have a criteria to select something of this project. And some of the criteria is, does this project address the main issues or the main problem with that specific ward? How many people will it affect in terms of create an impact? Is it a drop on the ocean project? Is it something that will bring a change scenario? And will it go and help the economic activity of that specific ward? If it qualifies for all these qualifications, and our main responsibility as the county planning committee, which we have another structure at the county level, which are directorates, we capacity build this community so that they can select projects that they can help, not just a small project, but the project that brings a change scenario within that respective ward. That's how they will access this fund. The source of fund is from grants, donation, from the well-wishers. Currently, there's a project that is on the pipeline called FOCA, Financing Locally Led Climate Change Action. So our work as the county government is to not to kind of come up with the programs ourselves, but take community through a process for them to appreciate what's happening within the environment, and there is need to change. There is hope. It's not that our livestock are now dying and we don't have option. There's option.